Good weekend, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your SPDR ETF stock market wrap-up, your weekly edition for a very spooky day. It is Friday the 13th, 9/13/2024. What more can I say? All right. I did a special report. I haven't done one most of the summer, so now I said I'd start doing them. I already know that next week I'm doing one on SLV. This week I did one to cover GLD, GDX, and the futures markets. To see it, there's a link up here. You can click that. Or if you go to iraepstein.com, and if you look at the left, if you haven't ever logged in and don't have user credentials on our website, click that. It'll take you right where you have to be. Another way on the website, you can go into the research. It'll be there for you as well. Okay, and you'll see that the special report, when you click it, you'll need a user ID. It'll give you everything right then and there, so you'll be all set up. Take a look. These reports go off in 3 business days, so I put it up today so you can see it over the weekend with the ease. It'll go off on Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, then Wednesday, and you count part of today. So that's how it'll work for you. But you were up in all the metals. I've decided, by the way, WS Bros, I wrote you on the on YouTube. We'll find a way to get hold of you together. I'm using Visa. We haven't done that in a long time, and it's worth looking at as this thing is humming. You know, the investors buying everything on credit. It's a great call that you had. Go with that. Others wanted me Home Depot. It's a good call. Restoration Hardware, probably a good call. The consumer, if interest rates fall and they're not buried in debt, will be buying like mad. But they're buried in debt right now. They keep buying, and we keep seeing it with what's going on in Visa, and I'll show you that in a minute. Tesla, it's going to be an interesting play come October. Are they going to be able to deliver that robo-taxi that drives itself? The shot across the bow happened today is Uber hooked up with Waymo, and that's kicking them, both of them higher as they're getting ready to do things. TLT was up, BND was up. Well, you know what you've got on Wednesday, the FOMC decision, and let me go through that with you before I get too far. The way I look at it doesn't mean I'm right. My interpretation. If the Fed stays just as they've been, data dependent, they go 25 basis points. If the Fed wants to break away from that, saying they are data dependent, but they want to be forward thinking, they go 50. That means you break away and you're trying to get ahead of the curve. I think they're late to the party in its own way, but I understand the nature. They don't want to send messages that there's anything wrong with an economy when there isn't. While we have job weakening, we don't have job crashing. I don't see massive layoffs. Now, what hurt the market today was the willingness of the workers at Boeing to go on strike. They weren't fired. They elected to go on strike. That'll hurt Boeing because what it does is it almost guarantees the company's got to go to the cash markets and borrow some money. The union wanted a 40% increase, let's say over 4 years. They offered 25. It's pretty simple. Go to 32% and do something with how you vest a little quicker to get up to certain numbers, and you probably end this thing. Do I know? I don't know. I'm not at the negotiating table, but that's going to be my guess. If it doesn't work, it can go to 50. Some of the analysts are saying it'll go 50 days based on past history. Well, I don't know the last time they struck. Was it 2008? So I don't know if that's right. Maybe it's history of similar deals. You know, we're a company like Boeing. I'm just not sure of what the analyst was saying. But that would run them billions of dollars. It's much easier to probably settle the deal, get cash flow going, get your products right, management, and you'll probably be okay. And, you know, everybody's worried about the next event. It's like there's this big black cloud over Boeing. And, you know, be careful, strikers. You know, if the company goes under, you're all out of work. I'm sure you'll find work somewhere else, but it's a real upset in life. They're in trouble. Understand the trouble they're in. Push them where you can, but be realistic. Okay. Copper market coming up on the idea all week that, there's rate cuts coming by the U.S. Today, if you were looking to Ms. Lagarde from the European Union, she's open to an October cut, even though she prefers December. Code word. Got to be careful that the word open means anything can happen. China's MCHI index really not going anywhere. NVIDIA holding. Now remember, NVIDIA went from the 140s down to the 100 level. Big break, has made up half of that. I hear that Blackwell's going to ship, in other words, their chip, that's according to the CEO, it's shipping a little bit, but is it shipping the actual chip, or is it shipping, because remember on the first call that they had, they were sending the experimental chips. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that the first real chips are going out, the final production ones, and then you've got an interesting story. You know, you can go back into that 140 area. So let's take a look at Visa. And I got a V. Do you deny that? There's your V. I mean, that's one of the reasons I chose it. I started laughing when I looked at it. And it's a classic pattern of higher lows and then higher highs. Now, where are the key moving averages? Right here. So when the market back over here, let's see if I can give you a date. It's right here. The last time the market was fighting at the 18-day average was August 23rd, and then the next week, August 30th, it closed over it. It never pulled back. The market's had what we call a vertical, it's had a vertical price rise every day since then. Let's get this to work. There we are. Every week since then. These are difficult rallies to buy, almost impossible. Where would you put a stop? I mean, if you're a chartist, you've either developed for yourself a money risk stop, which has nothing to do with the chart typically, or you got to stop under this low. So I don't think it's worth a $40 risk. That's the first thing. Number two, you're up to the Bollinger Band. On a big spike like that, could it do what it did here? It absolutely could. But it's typically a resistance zone, the Bollinger Band. If you go more times than not, you fight battles at it. So we'll see what happens. This particular stock likes to go to the Bollinger Band and hang at it a little bit, not just fall apart real fast. That's very interesting, but that's the nature. When it breaks, it tends to go right back to the 18-week average, and that would get me very interested in the chart, but not right here. Plus, I wouldn't want to see the market in overbought territory. In Amazon, as you keep hearing me say, I want you to be long before Christmas. I can't be any clearer. I think this will be a winner at Christmas time. I think people are going to shop, shop, shop. They haven't shown that they're not, and if they hear in the economy interest rates are coming down, and especially if they see it on a credit card, which they're always late to the party, but if they see that and their average bill comes down and the groceries come down and shelter comes down, then there's a story to talk about. Then they'll have some money to spend. I like it at 182, but I'm not crazy about almost a $16 risk on the chart. In RSP, you've come back to the old highs. In fact, you've done this and haven't gone through the highs, but you're there. This is a great time to talk about the S&P. I went back and looked at classical studies. From 1928 to 2001, just before the pandemic all took in, because everything changed right then, as you know. What do you think the market did on an average basis? Average basis, down 1%. There's other studies that show how often it falls and why the market typically falls. What is the S&P down on the close of business tonight? We're at mid-month for all purposes. The 15th is Sunday. 0.55% down. Interesting. BND, well, you'd expect it to run along with TNT when you've got TLT, when you've got both of them running with embedded readings on the weekly chart. Notice they're not staying over the Bollinger Band. This is that gorilla glue trade you hear me talk about. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what is it, 6, 7 weeks of hitting the band, not staying over it. Power. And people will go, it can't keep going, it's overbought. Folks, it's getting stronger, so it's going higher. Ultimately, if it wanted to have one of those liftoffs, 77's possible, you'll say, well, how could it do that? It's all of $1.80 away, so it can happen. CrowdStrike, once you look at a weekly chart, you understand why on the daily I said it's got to consolidate. There's nothing bullish here. You still have lower highs, lower lows. What happened is the first challenge of the Bollinger Band combined with the 100-day average offered support. But it's got a ways to go to prove it's good. It would be good to see this market get over not this week's high, but last week's high. Actually, this high, all the way up here at 278.50. I don't know if it can do it at this point in time. Meta, higher lows, higher highs, still looking for a challenge of the 544.42 level, the upper Bollinger Band. KRE, lower highs, higher lows. I don't know what to do with the chart. I'd leave that one alone. Anything to do with China, who has been the constant bear? You know, people have written, yeah. First of all, you can't believe their data. Number two, the economy's in serious trouble. Number three, the Biden administration today locked in a bunch of the tariffs that are going on cars and other products, and they're after now Temu, and I buy from Temu, I hate that, and Shine. So they had given them certain dispensations, and they've taken that away. I was writing about it in my newsletters today. In XLI, higher lows, higher highs, well, you can see the battleground right now. It's pretty ugly and steamy right here at that Bollinger Band, but industrial numbers should get the benefit of either a 25 or 50 basis point number. Could the market say on this rally that so many have had, when it comes out within 48 hours, it's discounted that already and we get a pullback? I expect that. Did you hear what I just said? That's what I wouldn't be surprised at all, purely because I've got years of data. Almost, what is that, 90, 100 years of data that said that this is not going to be a strong month. Could that data not work? Of course so. But I keep that in the back of my mind. On the energy, okay, we saw Hurricane Francis come on shore. We saw everything shut down. As fast as it shut down, that's how fast everything is going to open. I am not hearing of damage. The ports were open, lickety split today. There'll be more damage from the rain and so on that comes on shore than's going probably on the rigs, on the refineries and so on. It does take a few days to get them up. You think they don't work on weekends? Lower highs, lower lows. Oversold, but still in the dollar bearish as I'm seeing it. Gold, right on up. Now again, my gold report. Click up here. There'll be an icon. It'll take you there. In addition, if you go to IraEpstein.com, you'll see it on the left part of this site. If you're not one of my subscribers, if you're a subscriber, just go into your member login. It's waiting for you there. In COPX, well, we got a higher high, lower low. The interesting thing is it's done what I thought it would, both on a daily and weekly chart. It held this break area here, and it did it in futures, very similar. I don't know that it's ready to run anywhere, because what's going to make it run? I mean, you're at 420 in the cash market now, but why? I mean, the biggest user is China. I'm not hearing that they're doing better. So that's about 50% of the consumption. So there's something that's not making sense to me. That's my news flow. So again, take a look at the gold report if you'd like, IraEpstein.com. You move your cursor there, go there and you'll see it, hit your left side or go into, there's three ways. You can hit on the left, you can go to research. When you pull down, you will see the gold report. It'll pull down in the menu. And I've sent emails out to everybody as well if you're on my mailing list. Have a great weekend. I'm Ira.